So, since we played Dead Space Remake on the hardest difficulty, I figured I would go with Dead Space 2 on Zealot. Zealot's the same as hardcore, it's just you get more saves, so it makes it easier in recording. I do still only use 3 saves. I do die twice in really dumb ways, which I did keep in. I just thought it was funny. But it's right after a save would have been anyways, so it wouldn't have been more of a time loss than 2 minutes.
I'm so sorry, Isaac. Look at the time difference. I'll call you back later.
It's okay. How you doing?
Good. You're right, Isaac. The Ishimar is a great ship. I am so lucky to be serving aboard her.
Enjoy it while it lasts. You know they're gonna decommission her next year.
Isaac.
But if anybody remembers the remake, there are certain logs you can get. A particular log in the mining deck at the bottom floor. It's called Kane's Hideout. There are 2 audio logs in there that actually make reference to this conversation in particular. So if you haven't seen that, then there you go. There's a tie to the new game.
You were drifting away for a moment there, Mr. Clark. I believe you were telling me about your nightmares that you've been having.
Also, this man has a marker Rubik's Cube on his desk. I just wanted to point that out because I can never unsee that, and now neither can you. How the hell do you even solve that thing?
Just once. I loved you. I always loved
like,
you.
Yes.
The more corrupted side and the less corrupted side is... What is that thing?
USG Ishimura, yes. Part of a mining operation on Aegis 7. I understand communications went down shortly after their arrival. You were part of the repair mission. A mission for which you volunteered, am I right? What did you find aboard that ship, Isaac?
They found something.
What did they find aboard the ship, Isaac?
The marker.
Did you have contact with this marker? It made you see things, didn't it? Things you didn't want to see.
It spoke to me.
And what did it say, Isaac? What did it say to you, Isaac? Isaac, can you hear me?
So, for a connection to another Dead Space game, Dead Space Ignition, this guy in front of us right now is Franco Delili. Or Delisle, however the hell you pronounce his name. D-E-L-L-I-E, I think it was spelled. But he's the protagonist of that game, if you can call him a protagonist, because he's kind of an asshole. He's also a... well, if you choose a certain path, he shows that he's a unitologist in the Ignition games.
But you gotta trust me, okay? Listen, you're in terrible danger.
So you can't be too disappointed that that happens to him. Oh yeah, and spoiler warning? This game is messed up as hell. So if you're squeamish or have any problems with blood, guts, dismembering people, yeah, you probably shouldn't watch. Of course, if you're watching a video called Dead Space, then you've probably already messed up. But in the beginning, we just want to run for our lives, staying as far away from the Necromorphs as possible. And this game came out in 2011, around the ending of the QuickTime events, but still they existed in heavy doses, so there will be a lot of tapping A during some scripted events. But we're going to start off on Chapter 1 here. They don't get names in this one, unfortunately. They kind of skipped over the whole Nicole is dead, Brother Moons are awake chapter titles. So, you kind of just have to make your own. But we are in a precarious situation of wearing a straitjacket, barely any health, and completely defenseless. So, we're in for a fun time.
Now,
And if you want some story exposition, here is a computer monitor showing Nolan Strauss, who is a
AI's looking much better
pretty
today,
big character in this game.
It hurts.
If you don't know,
Still hurts.
you don't know,
Yes,
but
I'll
if you do
schedule
know,
for another
you know.
session tomorrow.
That sort of thing. But Strauss is actually a reference to another Dead Space movie. He was one of the last survivors of,
Let's talk about what you saw today.
I'm actually forgetting the ship name at the moment, but
I'm here to help you.
he was in a movie. He was one of the survivors of another outbreak. So
Deep black and glowing red.
that's why he's here.
Symbols whisper to me.
I think it was Aftermath?
Come on, Strauss. What? It was just short. It was just short, but I put so much stuff in my head, so much shit in my head.
But yeah, Strauss is a survivor of that. They make reference to a lot of things in other media, like Franco in Dead Space Ignition, Strauss in Aftermath. They make reference to Vandal from Dead Space Mobile. She only gets 2 audio logs, though, unfortunately.
Fucker. Put Mr. Strauss
But
back in stasis.
if you haven't played or seen any of the other media, then some of these things kind of just fly over your head. But it's kind of one of those aha for people that have seen the other stuff. The only thing I haven't done with Dead Space is read the books, so that's where I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge.
Come on, man. Patient 4. I remember you.
And this is our therapist. I think he might need one.
All the key subjects need to be eliminated. Terminated. Where's one more? Listen to me, man. What matter? Listen to me. Matter. We can both get out of here.
So, this is just fair warning.
Straight jacket.
After I open this locker for the squeamish, you might want to turn away. This game will have plenty of moments like that's coming up after the locker, but I'll try and let you know whenever they're coming for content warning, but I'm not going to censor them. You can't really demonetize someone who doesn't make any money anyways, so I'd rather keep the game in its full state as the publishers intended, or the devs intended.
Go ahead.
And if I get any copyright strikes, oh well.
I won't be needing it anymore.
So turn away now if you're squeamish.
Isaac, we're all gonna burn for what we did to you.
I'd say it was deserved, but I think that guy felt a little guilty.
Isaac Clarke, is that you?
Who are you?
My name is Dana. I'm the one.
He's definitely unique in that approach.
What's going on?
You're suffering from a unique form of dementia, Isaac. Something you contracted on Aegis 7.
How do you know that? How do you know all this about me?
Your dementia will kill you. But if you can get here, I can treat you and get you to safety.
Why should I trust you?
Because I'm not the one shooting at you.
Fuck.
Just follow the route I'm sending you.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that Isaac doesn't have massive trust issues, given that most people either betray him or try to kill him upon first sight. It's kind of weird. I probably wouldn't trust my own mother at that point, but this man has the heart of gold.
Orderly TPS report 1418. The recent realization that the popsicle sticks were
And I do end up switching on subtitles. I apologize for not having them on in the beginning, but we'll get them on as soon as this audio log is getting over with.
hypodermic needles and even toiletry items like nail clippers and tweezers. The research teams have all been notified of the discovery.
I kind of forgot that I didn't have subtitles on, so for any hearing impaired folks, my apologies. But I do get them on here. And if you're curious, Isaac is slowly losing his marbles. But after what he was through in the first game, that's kind of a given. And for the people that haven't played this game, these vents, nothing will ever attack you. It's mainly just for spooks. Like, literally in the entire game, whenever you're calling through these vents, you'll never be attacked, so you don't have to worry about that. But there will be shit to scare you, so you do have to be aware of that, but you don't have to worry about dying in a vent.
Including me.
Not if you follow my route. You don't have to like it. Just hurry before
But
you get locked in.
now we get probably one of the most critical upgrades in this game from the previous Dead Space 08. Now our stasis will actually be handy in combat, whereas before it didn't even have the power to skewer or take limbs. They actually added that in this one, so they made it a lot more combat efficient. But whichever side of the glass you destroy there in the op theater, that'll be the side that the Necromorphs come from, so you don't have to worry about the other side. It's just the side that you break the glass on that the two of them will come in. And health is a very precious thing in Zealot because Necromorphs hit like freight trains. So we're definitely going to have to look out for all of the hits that we take. And I miss, so panic stasis grabbing and run for your life. These Necromorphs, though, in the first chapters are neutered to where they actually are really slow. They will still basically insta-kill you if they hit you, but they're not programmed to run or be super aggressive, so you don't have to really worry about that part. They are still absolutely terrifying, because if they do hit you, you are pretty much dead. Because, for anyone that doesn't know, we don't have a suit. I would assume that most people have realized that at this point. But, you know, in case. So at this point, our only weapon is our stasis. We just have a flashlight. So, it's a good thing that there's all these sharp things in the op theater for some odd reason. They just have spikes everywhere. I will say that this game did prioritization on the kinesis a lot better. Whenever you aim towards things, it'll prioritize the spikes on them, so it's a lot more useful in combat situations. Because if you just grab in the remake, it'll grab literally what you're looking at instead of having a prioritization. Which you can argue is a skill thing, that you need to be more mindful of aim and all of that, but at the same time, you gotta have some flow.
Calm down. I'll cut you out of there.
But now we meet this poor guy who is in the worst open heart surgery in the middle of a necromorph outbreak possible. And I think he's probably going to leave a 1-star review. And I didn't notice this until after, whenever I started re-looking through the footage to record this, but his body just flies across the room after the cutscene, and it made me laugh so hard that I couldn't breathe the first time. I've never had that happen. Usually he just lays on the table still, but that time he just whipped across the room into the wall at like Mach 2. But you can't get past that necromorph on the gurney that's just flailing without the plasma cutter, so you need to grab it first.
Thanks.
It's kind of like stopping the oblivious people from leaving the room. So you can't just be like, I don't have a weapon for the rest of the chapter. But we're gonna have one of those patented Dead Space 2 jump scares, where you think it's something that's going to kill you, but actually, it's just a regular old fire suppression system. And then the real things that are trying to kill us come out. As you can see, the Necromorphs are now taking more spikes compared to the Op Theater ones. Like I said, the Op Theater guys are neutered to where it only takes one, but in actual gameplay, it'll take two. Until you upgrade your Kinesis to do more damage, which I never do. I just opt for Stasis and weapons. Kinesis is still good for using on the regular, because it's still extra damage that's technically free. So, if you can use it, you might as well.
Patient 3 has again shit the bed. Patient continues to draw what looks like a marker as she can, including her own feces. Her trembling hands have reached a point where she cannot feed, drink, or bathe herself. Her outlook is uncertain.
Also, yeah, marker dementia, really messed up shit. So, we'll get a first-person view of that, though. Like I said, this game has some dark themes, so if you're susceptible to any of that, you might not want to watch. And another classic Dead Space jump scare, breaking something to make you think that something's coming after you, but nothing does. And the ever classic rule, just loot every room. And don't miss the med pack in the corner, me. Good boy. But with that, we're just going to go into the next room, which is under a really loud quarantine lockdown. So we'll just start grabbing everything instead of running for the door for dear life. Because we want it. And we can't make it anyways, even though there's like another 3 feet there that Isaac could roll under. You know, he's just, he's very stiff. He just woke up after stasis, so he can't do a roll.
I told you to hurry. How'd you miss it?
Look, I don't need your help.
Fine. Let's see how long you last.
But yeah, now we're gonna get bum rushed. And we have no engineering suit, so these guys will hurt if they hit us. So I kind of stand over to the left here, and just use the spikes as you take out the guys to hit the other ones. But if you stay to the left, don't go to the right like me. Don't make past me's mistake. They'll all funnel to the left if you stay on the left. But I accidentally took out that one's head, so now he's just blindly slashing. But yeah, if you stay to the left, they'll funnel to the left. Don't do like me and go to the right, because if you go to the right, that'll change its pathing to go to the right, and then you'll have to worry about 2 sides instead of 1. You could see him, the guy that was going to the left started going to the right just because I moved over to the right. So, also there is a power node by this desk that we grabbed, so that is our first power node of the game, and you do want all the power nodes you can grab. I was just going back to check around for supplies if there was anything, because off the top of my head, I don't remember where every single thing is in this game, but there was nothing there. But there is ammo back there, so we do want that. But now we're going to get our other utility tool of the game, Stasis. Not as powerful as it is in Remake, but still a vital tool for not dying. And this guy that's coming in, if you don't stasis him, he will one-shot you. If you try and shoot him, it will bounce off. So you need to stasis this guy or die. In case you didn't know. So yeah, unless you want to play through all the stuff that we've played through so far, about 20 minutes worth, and just lose it on the spot, stasis him. Oh, and another caveat to stasis in this one, the recharge stations are not infinite. They have a cooldown, which I thought was the weirdest part of Remake, because it made stasis ungodly good. But the main reason for stasis having a recharge in this that I could think of, besides making it harder, is the fact that in 2, you actually have a natural stasis regen. At base level, it's, I believe, around 2 minutes or so. But you can actually decrease the timer to where it's around 1.5 minutes. So yeah, if you notice sometimes my stasis will just automatically fill itself, that's what that is. It's just a natural stasis regen. Which is good if you have long sections of downtime before a fight, or if you really care, you can just sit there, but I don't really care to do that. It's just kind of boring. So Nicole's happy to see us. But there's another distraction jump scare. Just something to make you think that something's out to get you, but it's just an everyday object or TV or fire suppression system. And yes, you can pop the rest of the balloons like I did. But here's our first example of a decompression. If you have to be pointed out, the giant triangle at the top of the window, we just shoot it, and that'll close it. I don't know what asshole in design... Oh, by the way, there's always a Necromorph here. Be aware of this guy. But I don't know what asshole designed the decompression windows where the switch to shut them off is right above the window, but that guy's a huge dick. But we have all this extra crap in our store. We're just gonna go with the original intended play method, not use the DLC stuff, because I kind of wanted this to be legit. But if you want to do hardcore, the Bloody Force Gun and the Bloody Vintage Suit will absolutely carry you through it. Like, no joke, it will one-shot stuff, and whenever it's fully upgraded, you basically become a god in any situation. Combine that with the Contact Beam's alternate special, the alternate fire special, and literally nothing will touch you in a room. Except for maybe a ranged Necromorph. But even then, you'll take so few hits that it doesn't matter. Like, if you ever want to do hardcore on this, the Bloody Force Gun and the Bloody Vintage Suit are easily the best tactic to get through. But here we can see that Isaac's suit actually weighs 60 pounds. If that isn't pounds anyways. It might be kilograms, but that would be a heavy-ass boy for Isaac weighing 195. That would make him almost 400 pounds. Actually, it might make him 400 pounds. 2.2 pounds for each kilogram. I don't know, I'm not good at maths. I know the conversion, but I don't know the maths. But yeah, I'm gonna assume it's in pounds and Isaac weighs 195. Which is still a pretty hefty dude. For being an engineer and being in a stasis bed for who knows how long, weighing 195 is pretty good. I assume he hasn't done much in quite a time. Unless he's been putting on the pounds, but... But here we have our first boss fight, the tripod. It's basically a pushover if you see it start crouching downwards, not whenever it's recoiling from a shot, but whenever you see it kind of pull back, just run to the side, it'll miss. Or you don't even have to wait for it to do its lunge, you can just keep running to the side, like circling pattern, and it'll try and jump at you, but it'll always miss that. But if it starts getting near you, start running backwards at a diagonal, it'll still miss you. But then once it loses an arm, it'll do a shorter lunge like this, and use its tongue to try and spear you. But it's still easy to dodge to the side because the tongue doesn't have a massive hitbox. If you want to avoid a little bit of damage from an unavoidable attack from this guy, just just kinesis the semiconductor it drops, and it'll activate its scene. You can also shoot its tongue whenever it's on the ground like that, and it'll activate the scene too. But it's just cheaper to kinesis it. And here I'm just looking around the room for any materials or resources, but there's nothing really here. But we don't want to leave that health pack here, so I'm gonna go back to the store, empty our inventory, and grab the health pack. But after that, that's basically gonna be the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 2 starts whenever we go down to a vent that's down the next hallway after the boss fight. Like I said, I just want the health because it'll still come in handy. So I empty my inventory a little bit and go and grab the health. There is a store in the next section, but it's more of a pain to get back here because you have to crawl through a vent. And that's just 2 doors away instead of a vent and 2 doors. So we're going to work our way into Chapter 2. Other than that, let me know what you guys think, and have a good one.